YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back, and I had to do it. Had to make my quarterback tiers. I've been seeing a lot of these, and every single one has been just terrible. So I'm putting the correct one out there. The only way you can do it. I think people are overthinking things with these quarterbacks, and especially with the tiers. I just went elite, above average, average, below average, bad. People are trying to put fancy tiers in there and make no sense, and they're putting players in completely wrong spots. So I thought I had to do it. And we're using tiermaker.com. Link in the description so you guys can go make yours, tweet it at us, screenshot it. Pretty cool website. Right before we get started, though, 20K is our subscriber goal. We're almost there. Thanks for the great support. We have daily sports video every single day. We'll bring you a video. Clicking that like button, we much appreciate it. Check out our Twitter there. We answer questions. Like I said, you can screenshot your tier rankings, tag us in it. We also have polls for you guys on there too. Link in the description. But let's start here. First off, I don't think Kyler Murray should be in here, but in this specific one, I mean, it's all the guaranteed starting quarterback, so I understand. So I guess he has to be. But where do you put him? We know he's capable. We'll start with him just because I don't know if he really should be in here. We know he's capable of honestly being average, above average, but he's a rookie quarterback, has not started yet. He doesn't have the Cardinals aren't the best team. So since he hasn't played yet, I think it's right that we put him in below average for right now. Definitely capable of being an average to above average quarterback, even right away because of his athletic ability. But we'll put him below average, hasn't played yet, not on the greatest team, could struggle a little bit, doesn't have he's not going against the same defenses, doesn't have the same offensive line. So we'll put him below average. We can't really call him bad either because he hasn't played yet. So it's tough with Kyler Murray. Should we just go in order by how these guys are here? We'll do that. So Andrew Luck is next. I think Andrew Luck's a pretty easy one. I'm going to put him at above average. I think that's pretty easy. He's obviously better than average. He's definitely not elite to me. If he keeps staying healthy and we keep seeing him, he possibly could be elite. I'm not ruling that out. He's capable, I guess, of getting there. Sometimes a little inconsistent, will turn the ball over too much. So I guess maybe if something like that keeps up, he's capable of going down to average. But the way I see it, it's clear cut. He's above average. I don't really view him. I didn't have to consider anything else. So Trubisky is next. To me, people, when I talk bad about Trubisky or last year, people always say, well, his upside. He's young. It was only his first full year starting, and I agree with all that. He's capable of getting better. He should get better because he was a young quarterback. But from what I've seen, I don't think he's going to improve a whole bunch. And from what he's shown me, I think the Bears last year had the best team. I think what hurt them was the most important position in football. But other than that, I think they had the best team. So I'm going to put him at the below average spot. He needs to show me a little bit more here to get to average and much more to get above that, obviously. Jared Goff, this is a tough one. This is where it starts. So far, it's been easy for me. It's pretty tough because he has his moments. Early in the season, like very early in the season, looked like an MVP. And then he started to come down a little bit, maybe above average. But then we were realizing when the offensive line couldn't protect him at all times, when he was under pressure, he struggled a bit, couldn't really get anything going against good defenses, especially when he made it to the Super Bowl. That's one thing, but in the Super Bowl, couldn't really get anything going. I think he needs the weapons. I think he needs, a good offensive line. Yeah, he can grow a little more, but from what I've seen, I think he's just an average quarterback. He definitely has more upside. He can definitely get to above average, but he's shown flashes of even maybe elite, but that's too strong. It was only maybe a game where he looked elite. But we know he's capable. He's pretty much in between above average and average. I feel pretty comfortable with him under average. Jameis Winston, if you notice the thumbnail, I kind of already gave it away. I put him to below average. It's another weird one. Sometimes he looks like an above average quarterback. Sometimes he looks like a bad quarterback. So we kind of got to split it. Is he average, below average? Him, he's not always on the field too. And then, he does turn the ball over a lot. Bruce Arians even said he needs to stop throwing the ball to the other team. And he's got a pretty good, the offense line needs to be better, but pretty good receiver unit in the past. I put him in that below average, but he's pretty much in between average to below average. And again, we're going to have rankings going into the actual number of rankings going into the 2019 season, but those are for predicting their play for the 2019 season. So that's coming up here at the Goat House. So we'll have exact rankings for my thoughts for the upcoming season of these guys. This is just the tiers. Eli Manning, as you saw in the thumbnail, I had him under bad. He doesn't got it anymore. He's a Hall of Fame quarterback. Based off what he's done, you could say he's elite, but right now, what he's capable of and what he's shown me recently, all that falls under bad, unfortunately. Offensive line doesn't help. Having no Odell this year doesn't help. He's definitely under bad. Flacco's another tough one. Definitely another tough one. I think if he would have stayed in the whole year, a very good Ravens team probably would not have made the playoffs. So it took the rookie quarterback to thrown in there halfway through the season to get to the playoffs. They did not have the best unit around him, receiver unit. I think he's capable a little more on the Broncos, so I'm not going to put him under the bad category. I like him under below average. Matt Ryan is capable of having an elite season like his MVP season. Very capable. Haven't seen it since then, but we've seen pretty good play. Also got a young offensive line in front of him. I'm going to put him above average. He's, again, capable of being elite, but I like him above average. Tom Brady's elite. Even if he has an off year last year, he's elite. He makes throws that not everybody can make. Maybe a couple guys can make. A very smart quarterback, knows how to win. I don't really have to go in depth on why Tom Brady's an elite quarterback. Derek Carr a couple years ago, and before he got hurt, was looking like above average quarterback, but that was really 1 year. He got his money off that year. Since then, has struggled. At times he's actually looked like he's in the bad section, but I know he has a little more in him. He definitely could be average. Like I said before the injury, we saw above average, but from recently, what I think he's capable of this year, better weapons, definitely capable of going a little higher, but I'm going to put him under below average. Deshaun Watson. This is a tough one. Very tough one. Terrible offensive line. That kind of hurt him, but he can make throws even coming out of the injury. He does have DeAndre Hopkins, but not a whole bunch after that. Will Fuller's constantly hurt. Offensive line's terrible, like I mentioned. Lamar Miller's been solid, but not the best group there. I like Watson. I like him above average. He's borderline. He's not as good as Andrew Luck and Matt Ryan. Definitely not as good. But I'm going to put him under above average. I think if he has the right offensive line, from what he's shown me, even with the bad offensive line, but having a good offensive line in there another year, I think he's the above average quarterback. He can make things happen with his feet too. He's very borderline. Very borderline. If I think he had the protection, the receivers that I know he has DeAndre Hopkins, but the unit that Goff has, I think he'd be, because people probably view Goff better, but I think Watson would be better. That's just how I feel. Nick Foles is one I have a big problem with everyone else. Everyone else is putting him, in the bottom part, and I don't really get it. The way he's been playing, maybe they're taking points off for him, not playing a whole season. We know what he's capable of. We know what he's done very recently. Is he going to be as good on the Jags as he was on the Eagles? Maybe not, but that's a maybe. I put Nick Foles as the above average. He's a Super Bowl MVP quarterback, and that's not why he's up here. We're not going off the past, but that was the recent past. We see what he's capable of. I think he's a pretty darn good quarterback. I put him above average. I think everyone, I think they're sleeping on him. He most likely won't be as good on the Jags as the Eagles. He'll still be a good quarterback. We know what he's capable of. We know what he's done. He's shown us what he's done. He's above average to me. Sam Darnold, a lot of upside. I think he has some time to get there, though. He definitely has some time. I know he doesn't have the best weapons. Turns the ball over a little too much for my liking. Again, that could be fixed. It's not something that really goes away for quarterbacks. It could be fixed with some time, but from what I've saw and what I think will happen in the near future, very near future, I still think he's a bad quarterback. That's just me. I think people are overhyping him a little bit. I wasn't super high in the pre-draft process, but I know his upside, to me, is average. I don't think he has a huge upside, but he has upside from where he's at now. Russell Wilson, to me, is elite. Doesn't have the weapons some of the other guys have that are in the above average, the elite, and he gets it done with his feet, with his arm. Super good third down, won a Super Bowl with maybe not as good as talent. He's never really had that best of an offensive line. Last year probably was his best offensive line ever, which is ridiculous. So it doesn't have the supporting cast really compared to the other guys, and he's been elite, no question. Drew Brees, right now, can he play at that elite level? That's a tough question because he's not as good as he was a couple years ago, but he's still elite to me because he can make throws. not a lot of people can make. Tight spaces on the sideline. And he takes care of the football and he wins games. That's the main thing. He takes care of the ball, does not throw a lot of interceptions at all. It's a reason why his team keeps winning, and that kind of goes with it too. He wins games, he gets far every single year, and he's still capable. He's not the same Drew Brees, but he's not far off. I still think he's elite for all those reasons. Lamar Jackson, another tough one because he only played half a season last year, so you kind of have to go off that. And, does he show me anything that for sure he'll step up? Some of the guys that are young, I put a little lower because they didn't really show me they're going to for sure step up. I like Lamar Jackson. He makes the big-time throws when his coaching staff lets him. He got thrown into a team that I don't think was going to make the playoffs, and he made some things happen. They just got to be – I think they're playing it too safe with him at times like we saw in the playoff game. He's very capable. I like Lamar Jackson. He's not as good as Jared Goff, but I still put him in the average section. Patrick Mahomes is elite. I know it was one season we've seen him, but he can make all the throws. He's very smart. He's an elite quarterback. Baker Mayfield, even only 1 year, I'm back in my mind, can he have like a sophomore slump? What I mean by that, I don't think it's going to be a bad season, but maybe he won't take that next step like everyone thinks, but still, he's an above average quarterback. He can do many different things, can roll out, can throw on the run. He can run if he wanted to, too. He makes very good, accurate throws, and he's going to be even better, we think, with the better talent around him. But I think he's an above-average quarterback. Cam Newton is another one that people are really making me mad on their list. They're putting him down here. Cam Newton is very, very, very capable of being in the elite section. Very capable. We've seen it in a year or two. I think people are basing things too much off of last season while he was hurt. They're just thinking about that too much. Cam Newton can win. He can win in different ways. He can play. He's just not a pocket quarterback. He can do way more things. He can, throw on the run. So we talk about some of the other guys. I mean, he's got everything you want in a quarterback. I put him in the above average section. He's got to be healthy, obviously. He's never had the best offensive line, never had the best receivers, still gets a lot done, still won an MVP. If he's healthy, he's above average quarterback at worst. So I don't really get what people are talking about with that. Kirk Cousins, to me, this is a pretty easy one. I just easily think he's clear-cut average. Actually, beginning of last year, he was looking like, it was kind of him and Jared Goff, very similar. Beginning of last year, they were both looking like MVP quarterbacks, and then something happened. As soon as the offensive line for both teams, the Rams' offensive line was much better even at its lows, but as soon as they started getting pressure, that's when things started going south for them. So they were looking at like elite quarterbacks, and then, as the season went on, I'd say, when they were getting pressure, I would say Goff was kind of looking like a below average, and Kirk Cousins was maybe in between below average and bad, maybe even towards bad. So I kind of split the difference there. I still think Jared Goff leads the way pretty clearly in this average section. But Cousins is capable of, even when he was on the Redskins, he was average to, I wouldn't get to above average, but I think he's just an average quarterback. He's got some pretty good weapons too. The offensive line's going to be better. Phillip Rivers, very easy one. He's above average quarterback. At times he actually looks elite. Maybe throughout his career you would say elite. Didn't win a whole bunch. He's had some winning seasons, obviously. Needs to take care of the ball a little more, down the stretch. He started turning over a little bit. But I'd say Phillip Rivers is probably the best one of this group. If Cam Newton's healthy, I'd say he is. Matt Ryan, I'd say Cam, Phillip Rivers, and Matt Ryan are the best of this group. I'd say Andrew Luck would be next. But we got to see what happens going forward, obviously. We can do this every year, really. Garoppolo, to me, Garoppolo hasn't shown me enough yet. That's why he's a hard one. He hasn't shown me enough. He played for the Patriots. He learned from Tom Brady and Belichick. Josh McDaniels. That's just not enough for me. I need to see more. He got hurt last year. He hasn't really impressed me all that much when he's played. He won a few games at the end of the year a couple years ago. People got a little overhyped about. I know he's capable of much more in this, but he needs to show me more. I put him below average for now. Matt Stafford is, I think he's right there with Kirk Cousins. I think he's an average quarterback. Last year, I think he was below average. I think he was a below average quarterback. He even played bad at times last year. Offensive line wasn't too healthy, but we know what he's capable of. We've seen him do it a couple years ago, and it's not. I think he can play average. I think it's realistic he can play above average going this year, but I like him in the average spot. Josh Allen. Josh Allen's a real hard one. because didn't play a whole bunch of games last year. He looked pretty darn good. He needs to show me more. I'm going to put him below average. I almost wanted to put him average, but he's definitely not as good as these guys to me. I know I'm going to get ripped for Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's capable of a whole lot. He's shown me in a short period of time that he can do a lot. When the coaching staff lets him lets him throw the ball downfield, I really like Lamar Jackson. So Josh Allen's here. I'm almost wanting to put him there, but then again, he's not better than Derek Carr. He's not better than Garoppolo. He's not better than Jameis Winston. Maybe. Mariota needs to stay healthy. We definitely know what he's capable of. We'll just say if he's healthy, he's definitely very capable of being an average quarterback to maybe above average even. I think it was his second year in the league. He was ridiculous, but we need to see more of that. I just know what he's capable of, and he's shown me enough to know that he's capable of being at least an average quarterback. Carson Wentz is the same thing. He was looking like an MVP before he got hurt 2 years ago. Last year did not play good. Based off last year, I'd put him under below average, but he's shown me enough. But he needs to stay healthy and show me, be more consistent. Show me that he can be more consistent to go to the above average section, which he's very capable of being under. Aaron Rodgers really hasn't been the same. He was definitely an elite quarterback. Hasn't been the same last year. Playing hurt possibly, but throwing the ball away a little too much. But at the end of the day, he makes the big boy throws. He's the best at rolling outside the pocket, making crazy throws. And he's a safe quarterback. He doesn't take his team out of game, no question. Still elite, even though he has not been anywhere near the Aaron Rodgers that we remember that was, better than elite. If there was a section better than elite, Brady and Rodgers would have been there a few years ago. But Rodgers still elite, even though he's been, not the same. But it could be because of injuries. Case Keenum, a very hard one. Based off the year with Minnesota, definitely at least average. He's capable of doing that again, especially with Washington if he gets to start, but he just hasn't had, enough to show me, enough consistency. But I definitely wouldn't say he's a bad quarterback, so we definitely put him. I think it's actually pretty clear he's a below average. Josh Rosen, I know he's capable of much more, but based off last season, which was his only season, and what could be this year, he's bad for now, but I do like his upside. Pretty much him and Darnold have a ton of upside, and they can definitely climb this by next year. Dak Prescott, I really liked Dak's game last year. He needs to be more consistent. Dak is right in that line right here, above average to average. He needs to be more consistent. I can't make a decision here. He's right in between. I'm gonna put him average. I need to see another good year like last year. Sometimes he could take his team out of games. I like Dak a lot. I think Dak's the best one out of this group here. I think he is. It depends on if Wentz goes back to where he was. So I think Dak is the best of the average group right now. Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton's another tough one. Man, he's in between average and below average. Need to stay healthy. Can't really win in the playoff. He can't really get to the playoffs. I'm going to put him under average. I'd say Lamar Jackson and Andy Dalton are at the bottom of the average group right now. But Andy Dalton, to me, if healthy, I think he's definitely better than this group right here in the below average, like pretty clear. So that's where I feel comfortable. And Big Ben, maybe the toughest one for me is last. And that happens to be, that's crazy because he was elite. He turns the ball over way too much for me right now. But he does throw for an insane amount of yards, insane amount of touchdowns. He wins games for the team. This is the toughest one. This is the toughest one. He's right there above average. I'm gonna put him average. I think he does lose some games. I think with his turnovers, but he does throw the ball a million times a game and has an insane amount of yards. So I guess that comes with it. He's just not. I don't think he's anywhere the same as where he used to be. Definitely was elite. I think it's been a few years since we've seen it. And like I said, with maybe Brees hasn't been this. He's still really good though, but hasn't been the same. Brady really wasn't the same. Like I said, Rodgers wasn't the same. Those guys still don't lose games for their teams. Like when you say Aaron Rodgers lost that game and Drew Brees lost that game, like Tom Brady, it doesn't happen. It never happens. I think Roethlisberger, can lose some games, take some, but is he a step under them or two steps? I'm gonna keep him average. I'm gonna stick with my initial thought. He's probably the toughest one. Can we reorder these? We can. All right, now we'll rank them now. We can rank them. Why not? Tom Brady. It's already tough. So this would be the first spot. I'm gonna keep Tom Brady actually at 1. I think people could base too much off last year. You kind of got to take into account the year before and what he can do this year, what we know he can do. I think he actually is much better this year than he was last year, and he still won a Super Bowl last year. So I'm gonna put him 1. I'm gonna put Mahomes 2. I like that right there. Rodgers, like I mentioned, it's been a few years. So for that reason, I think I'd put him last out of the group, but he's very capable of being first. If he stays healthy this year, and he might be the best quarterback. But that's how I'll order that one. The above average group, it's tough. I mentioned the 3 guys there. I'm going to put Phillip Rivers 1. I just worry about Cam Newton's weapons and health for this year. But he's very capable of being better than all these guys. So I think Andrew Luck's got the weapons. I'm not really worried about his health anymore. We're going to put him there. I'm almost thinking about putting Andrew Luck ahead of Matt Ryan because I'm worried about Matt Ryan's young offensive line. I think I'm basing it too much off what they're going to do this year. So we'll keep it like that. And we're going to put Nick Foles right there, Watson right there, Baker Mayfield there. And then we're going to put Big Ben at the top. We are going to put Dak 2, Jared Goff 3, Carson Wentz 4. We're going to go Kirk Cousins. We're going to go Matt Stafford, Mariota, Andy Dalton, Lamar Jackson. Then the below average, let's just put Kyler Murray last. He's going to be better than some of these guys, but he has not played yet. I'm going to put Derek Carr first, if it'll let me. I'm going to put... Man, this is tough. I'm going to put Garoppolo second. We're going to go Trubisky third, Winston, Josh Allen. I like that right there. Wait. We're going to put Keenum right there. All right. Kyler Murray. If I'm predicting what Kyler Murray's going to do this year, I think it's somewhere right there. But rookie, he hasn't played yet. And down here, I'm going to go like that. That's what I'm going to do there. So that's my rankings. Let me know your guys' thoughts. I'm pretty sure I'll get ripped in the comments, but I just can't believe some of these other people's really Cam Newton and Nick Foles, who I happen to have right next to each other. People are hating on those guys. I think people are kind of mixed on what they're doing. Like, they're basing a lot of it off of what they can be, even though they haven't really shown us that much yet, or what they did 10 years ago. Like, make up your mind, This is based off what they're capable of, but what they had to show me. It's not just saying, well, this guy's young, so that means he's capable of being great. No, it doesn't work like that. So that's what I got. Maybe we can do more of these with different positions. But again, I'm gonna make rankings for the 2019 season by predicting how they will play in the 2019 season. So it's going to be much different. And that's going to go for every single position. We're going to rank all kinds of things and do all kinds of predictions for the upcoming 2019 season. We already have plenty of predictions on our channel for the 2019 season. So if you haven't seen any of that, please check it out. Let me know your guys' thoughts. And there's a link in the description for tiermaker.com. Great websites. But again, we have plenty of predictions on the channel, plenty of draft coverage we did not that long ago, grades, all that. We cover the NBA draft from time to time as well here. We're getting closer to that. So a lot going on here at the Goat House. Please subscribe. We got daily sports videos here. That's going to do it for this one. Thanks, everyone, for the support. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.